Clark County teacher is under arrest tonight. Coming up on Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6, he's charged with manslaughter. He was taken into custody after 1 day on the job.
The Gulf Coast is reeling in the wake of devastation left behind by Hurricane Katrina. Tonight, a massive relief effort is underway, and you can help.
Plus, friends and family gather to remember the victim of the Suncoast shooting and robbery.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6. It's not just news, it's eyewitness news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. One of the Clark County School District's newest teachers is under arrest tonight.
He was arrested and charged with manslaughter after his first day on the job. 24-year-old Paul Buboltz was a physical education teacher at Palo Verde High School. What district officials didn't know was he was wanted on a warrant for the death of a man outside a bar in Minnesota. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Brian Allen is at Palo Verde High School. Brian.
Paula, good evening. Buboltz was taken into custody here yesterday at Palo Verde High School, where he had been working as a physical education and study skills teacher. Tonight, he is being held at the Clark County Detention Center awaiting extradition back to Minnesota. The news of Paul Buboltz's arrest came as a surprise to Palo Verde High School students. Senior Rebecca Yepes has already formed an opinion.
A murderer teacher? That's crazy. Who wants to be taught by somebody who just killed somebody?
4 months ago, Buboltz was a bouncer at this bar in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It was in that capacity he encountered Justin Smiley, an intoxicated customer Buboltz tried to restrain the night of April 8th. During the scuffle, according to Minnesota authorities, Smiley's air supply was cut off. He died 19 days later. Smiley's mother wants justice.
Even if I was drunk and I punched you, there are ways to restrain somebody without having to deprive them of oxygen.
Minnesota authorities issued an arrest warrant for Buboltz yesterday, knowing he was in Las Vegas teaching at Palo Verde. School district police took him into custody.
Well, school had been dismissed, and in situations like this, we want to, try not to expose the kids to too much. And in this case, no, there were not kids present.
Minnesota prosecutors do not believe Buboltz intentionally tried to kill Justin Smiley, but they do say that his actions on April 8th significantly contributed to the young man's death. Again, he is being held at the Clark County Detention Center tonight, awaiting extradition back to Minnesota. Reporting live from Palo Verde High School, Brian Allen, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Brian, school district spokeswoman Pat Nelson tells Eyewitness News that since the arrest warrant was issued just yesterday, there's no way that any of this would have turned up during his background check.
Another soldier from Nevada died in the war in Iraq. This is a picture of Army Specialist Joseph Martinez when he was a student at Durango High School. A 21-year-old from Las Vegas was killed north of Baghdad in the town of Talafar on Saturday during a battle with insurgents. Martinez was stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado, before being sent to Iraq. He is the 24th Nevadan to die in that war. Memorial services are underway right now for a Henderson woman who was shot to death by a robber in the Suncoast parking lot last week. 68-year-old Julie Miller was killed. Her husband was wounded. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Alyson McCarthy joins us from Palm Mortuary. Alyson.
Gary, friends and family of Julie Miller here today say she would have wanted them to celebrate her life, not mourn her loss, described as a woman who loved to laugh, loved to smile, and loved to spoil her grandchildren. 68-year-old Julie Miller and her husband Ron were preparing to park their car at the Suncoast last Tuesday when police say a man with a gun approached them and demanded money. Ron Miller says his wife tried to turn over what cash they had, but the man said it wasn't enough and he shot them anyway. A single bullet passed through Ron's arm and struck Julie in the chest. She died at UMC. Today, those who knew and loved her are remembering the wonderful person they say Julie was.
Mom was the coolest. She was very adamant about the fact that there was no in-law and son-in-law. And she was just everything and then some, and everyone who knew her, everyone wanted her to be their mom.
Suncoast and Boyd Gaming have posted a $50,000 reward for information leading to the killer's capture. Here's his description. He's described as a light-complected African-American male in his 30s, 6 feet tall with a medium build, last seen away from the Suncoast in a silver or light-colored Dodge Magnum station wagon. Back live now, anyone with any information regarding this crime is urged to call Crime Stoppers. That number, 385-5555. Reporting live from Palm Mortuary, I'm Alyson McCarthy, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Alyson. Over the last few hours, the situation in the Gulf has gone from bad to worse. New Orleans is facing a full-scale evacuation because of flooding from Katrina. Looting is a major problem. A leading official with the Federal Emergency Management Agency is calling Katrina, quote, the most significant national disaster to hit the United States. KLAS-TV is trying to help out the recovery effort. This is a live picture of volunteers ready to take donations from you. Donations will go to the Red Cross to help with Katrina recovery efforts. Call 650-1101 to help out.
The extensive damage to the Gulf Coast oil operations caused by Hurricane Katrina hasn't affected gasoline prices here yet, but experts say it's just a matter of time. The average cost of a gallon of regular unleaded stayed the same for the 5th straight day today, $2.67 here in southern Nevada. It's $2.60 nationwide. However, with potential damage to oil platforms, refineries, and pipelines, along with a slowdown in production, wholesale gasoline and oil prices are surging. President Bush still hasn't made a decision about whether to release oil from the nation's strategic reserve, but experts say that would have very little impact. The potential for gas prices reaching $3 a gallon has a lot of people, though, rushing to gasoline stations. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Ted Florendo has that part of the story. Ted.
Well, Gary, the word is out, and now these gas stations are getting more and more customers. Many drivers fear the rising gas prices could mean less weekend trips and certainly a Labor Day weekend at home instead of on the road.
I'm thinking of buying a bike now.
Rafael Robles probably isn't the only one, too. It cost him $150 to fill his truck up. And even though Katrina is no longer a hurricane, Robles knows her aftermath may soon be felt right here.
So gas prices will almost certainly go over $3 a gallon. They already have in many parts of the country.
Michael Geeser with Nevada AAA says the Southeast already is seeing gas prices soar to over $3 a gallon. Many of the refineries in the Deep South were wiped out from Katrina.
All totaled, the Southeast, and especially in the Louisiana area, are responsible for up to 20 to 30% of the refined gas that comes into the country.
Damaged refineries and more demand for crude oil in the South will all contribute to the hike at the pump.
Prices will go up steadily as it gets harder and harder to get the refined gas to stations around the country.
Not good news for guys like Patrick Hamilton. He can barely get by on $2.67 a gallon.
Right now it's really hard because with the minimum wage that we're working right now at our job, we can't afford to buy gas. So, I came to the gas station right now just to get enough gas to go home.
We talked with several national airlines, too. They say the price of jet fuel will also go up, but many of them say there is no plans of a hike in ticket sales, at least not right now. Reporting live from Maryland and Sahara, Ted Florendo, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Ted. A team of medical specialists from Nevada is going to the Gulf Coast to assist in relief efforts. The Nevada 1 Disaster Medical Assistance Team is being deployed. The DMAT team has 35 members from throughout Nevada and includes physicians, nurses, paramedics, emergency medical technicians, and other medical specialists. The unit is designed to be self-sufficient for 72 hours with supplies including food and medicine. Its mission is to support medical needs in hard-hit areas. The local chapter of the American Red Cross is sending help to those devastated by Hurricane Katrina. A Red Cross employee and one volunteer hit the road earlier today in an emergency response vehicle. They're headed to the Red Cross staging area in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where they'll find out where they'll be needed most. Patrice Walko says they've been on disaster relief missions before and they know what to expect.
It could be flooding, it could be just huge tornadic areas, or it could be just somewhere in between where the people are stranded and don't have water or food.
The local Red Cross is only accepting monetary donations at this time, but they say more volunteers may be needed. For more information, you can log on to our website at KLAS-TV.com.
Gaming is a big industry along the Gulf Coast. Next on Eyewitness News at 6, how Las Vegas gaming companies are reacting to the disaster and what they're going to do to help their employees.
Also, the family of a drunk driving victim is fighting to keep the man who killed him from getting back behind the wheel.
Kevin Janison in the Channel 8 Weather Office. We've got smoke from a fire in the Palm Springs area invading the valley. We'll let you know how that's going to shape up for Wednesday. Full look at your forecast is coming up in just minutes, but as we head off to break, here are the real-time conditions in the neighborhood near Valley View in Charleston. We'll be back.
Visit KLAS-TV.com for more health news, information, and a listing of our Eye on Health professionals.
Hurricane Katrina is hitting Las Vegas gaming companies hard. Several have properties that are heavily damaged or have been destroyed. Channel 8 Eyewitness News' live Edward Lawrence talked with some executives today. Edward.
Yeah, I'm at the Nevada Cancer Institute. That's because Harrah's and its employees donated $1 million over the next 2 years here. And that's the reason the chairman, CEO, and president of Harrah's is right here. Now, Gary Loveman has been monitoring reports from employees of the 3 casinos his company owns along the Gulf Coast. He says one of his riverboat casinos was ripped off the moorings and carried across the highway. Loveman says he's concerned for the well-being of the employees there. There's a Harrah's Heart Fund employees donate to and can draw from in an emergency. Harrah's plans to move workers from Las Vegas to the Gulf Coast so Gulf Coast workers can take care of their homes.
I'm hoping that it will be a catalyst in the long term, that we'll be able to put even better facilities on the ground there and that we'll be able to make the vitality of the area even stronger in the long term. Certainly there's going to be a short period here in the middle where we will hustle to get back going as quickly as we can, if even in a temporary or sort of ad hoc way, to get people back employed and get economic vitality back in the region.
MGM Mirage has 2 casinos in Mississippi. Boyd Gaming and the Imperial Palace operate 1 each. Damage to the buildings has been extensive. Harrah's is losing about $1.5 million per day. Gaming experts say it's about $1 million a day for MGM. Experts add that Louisiana and Mississippi are losing $500,000 in gambling taxes. Now, work to rebuild those casinos will take place as soon as the infrastructure gets ready and people can get to those casinos. Gary Loveman here is expecting that could take a couple of months. Reporting live from the Nevada Cancer Institute, Edward Lawrence, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Edward.
Hundreds of thousands of people have been affected by Hurricane Katrina, a storm that has changed tens of thousands of lives forever. You can call 650-1101 to help those people by donating to the Red Cross. We're trying to help out.
The valley got a little cool down today, although it may have been hard to tell. Coming up, Kevin Janison has a look at your neighborhood weather.
Neighborhood weather on Eyewitness News is brought to you by Sunburst Shutters. First, because they last.
We're saying goodbye to August Wednesday, but does that mean the end of monsoon season? I'll have your complete neighborhood weather forecast through Labor Day weekend.
Plus, we'll tell you the trouble spots on the road. Skywitness traffic is the best bet for your commute. See you Wednesday at 5 a.m.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6 with Gary Waddell, Paula Francis, neighborhood weather with Kevin Janison, and sports with Dave McCann. It's not just news, it's Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
A local family is speaking out because the man who killed a loved one in a DUI accident has been able to apply for a new driver's license. 50-year-old Mike Hastings was killed by drunk driver James Yak in September of 1995. When Yak was released from prison just over a week ago, he applied for a new license, even though he's prohibited from driving for the next 3 years. The district attorney's office was in court today to try to stop Yak. The victim's family believes with prior DUIs, Yak is likely to drink and drive again.
When you're at a .28, it was more than a couple of beers, and he has never admitted that he had any more than that. If he refuses to admit something like that, I'm afraid that he is a chronic alcoholic and he will do it again.
Be on the lookout for James Yak, because he's probably out driving around, and chances are he's driving under the influence.
A judge is waiting to hear from the Clark County Clerk's office as to why the DMV was never notified that Yak was not supposed to be issued a license.
Henderson woman says she started an apartment fire because she was upset about losing custody of her son. According to investigators, Shelley Wells admits to using a lighter to set her mattress on fire. 9 families in the apartment complex near Lake Mead Parkway and Warm Springs Road were left homeless because of that blaze. Wells is charged with 9 counts of arson. Police say her 8-month-old son was taken away a few weeks ago after reports that she had harmed him. Boulder City has hired some help in hopes of attracting visitors from all around Clark County. City's tourism commissions made a deal with R&R Partners. That's the marketing firm that created the What Happens Here Stays Here campaign for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. The commission secured a $100,000 grant for a one-year contract and hopes to launch an ad campaign as early as December.
Southern Nevadans have rallied to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. The recovery will go on for months, if not years. KLAS is helping raise funds for the Red Cross. Dave Courvoisier joins us with more on how the phone bank is going.
And Paula, Southern Nevadans should feel good about the fact that we've collected $25,000 in just under 3 hours. The phone line 650-1101. You can still call Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. You know, and don't be afraid that your $5 or $10 or $20 donation, it wouldn't amount to anything, because when you add up the $5 donation that she gets and the $10 donation that she gets and the $20 donation that she takes here on the phone, you've got a lot of money, and add that to all the many thousands of dollars that'll be collected in other cities. These people are billions of dollars in debt from the damages already, and it's going to take months to rebuild some of these cities and towns. Please make a donation right now. This money goes to the Red Cross. They'll feed these refugees. They'll give them temporary housing and clothing, basics like toothpaste. Make a call if you can. 650-1101. Back to you, Gary and Paula.
Thank you, Dave.
Time to check in now with Kevin Janison, find out one, what's happening here, and two, what's happening with Katrina.
All right, we've got both of those answers for you, Gary. First of all, what's going on here? And, you know, we should have crystal clear skies. The humidity is down, the temperature's dropping, and look at this junk and gunk and yuck out there. Essentially, what has happened is smoke from a fire in the Palm Springs area that is over 5,000 acres, but 65% contained, has filtered its way into the Las Vegas Valley. They're expecting full containment on Thursday, but unless the wind shifts a few degrees, we're going to be dealing with this. Here's the view from the camera on top of Boulder Station. Last one you saw was Sunset Station, and it's smoky when you look across the valley. We've got haze in neighborhoods all over town. Speaking of neighborhoods, far west side of town now near Alton, Anasazi, that neighborhood's down to 97 degrees. They only peaked at 98 today only. Lake Mead and Nellis on the east side of town, though, far different cry. It is hotter on the east side of town. They're at 104, only 8% relative humidity, and there are those light winds. Horizon and Greenway, the neighborhood in Henderson, coming in at 99, and Pahrump at 95 degrees and only 5% relative humidity. That's the story. Air mass is very dry out there, with most neighborhoods reporting right about 10% relative humidity. Pahrump, we showed you, is lower. So is Rachel and Alamo and Amargosa Valley and Indian Springs. Meanwhile, that dry air contributing to some hot temperatures today. Couple of 108s, MLK and Cary, Las Vegas Boulevard and the San Rose Parkway. Several 107s on the east side of town, and Alexander and Wallapai hit 105. 76 on the mountain, Death Valley at 114, Mesquite at 104, and at McCarran, top temperature was 102, 3 degrees above normal, still 10 off the record. Air quality in the moderate category, not only due to the ozone levels, but now due to the smoke from that fire in California. Those are the remnants, the carcass of what was once Katrina, spread out throughout much of the Midwest and into the Northeast, with heavy rains reported in parts of Indiana and Ohio, where some areas have had over 5 inches of rain, but the winds have backed off. Storms moving pretty quickly. We're clear. We'll stay clear, at least as far as the clouds are going. Got a dry flow coming from the north, a humid flow coming up from the south. We think the dry flow is going to win out. Here's your forecast first for the remainder of tonight. We do have some areas of smoke from that California fire. 75 will be the morning low temperature. Then tomorrow, we're looking for a high of 99, but I'm afraid more smoke will be possible. Light winds, that's the problem. If we had a little more wind, we might be able to kick that smoke out of here. And your 7-day forecast now, we are looking for temperatures to stay around 100 degrees with morning lows in the mid-70s. The fire, if it's contained Thursday and controlled by the weekend, should help us have a labor of love with our weather this weekend.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sure. Some mayors from around the area were in competition with one another today with help from local Boy Scouts. This race wasn't political. It was all fun and games. The mayors, Oscar Goodman, Mike Montandon, Bob Ferraro, Jim Gibson, and Bill Nichols all took part in this year's Pinewood Derby race. 10th annual Cub Scout event was held at the Charleston Heights Arts Center. The mayors competed against each other using Pinewood cars made by scouts from their respective cities. Look at that. There it is. The winner, Henderson Mayor Jim Gibson.
That was quick.
Way to go. That's fun.
Chris Maathuis is here with sports and the spread of the storms even affecting football.
Yeah, football, and you knew it would already. Hurricane Katrina already affecting the upcoming football season for a few teams. they are making other plans. UNLV making plans for the season opener at New Mexico. Boy, it's all business over on campus. Plus a feel-good story for some baseball players. Sports is coming up next. All righty, and welcome back. Now, besides Saturday, UNLV has played 8 games on Thursday, 7 on Friday, and 1 on Sunday. They've never played a Monday game until now. The Rebels meet New Mexico on Labor Day, so you know it's all business at Rebel Park.
I just think this team's got a lot invested. You know, we've worked hard. We've improved the work ethic. I think these guys have a great attitude.
Well, now this will be only the second time that UNLV has opened its season against a conference opponent. Now, as you'd expect, Hurricane Katrina has affected a few football games. The Tulane Southern Mississippi game, along with the LSU and North Texas games, have been postponed. The New Orleans Saints are in San Jose preparing for their last preseason game. Of course, these players are concerned about their families back home.
I left it on the Weather Channel the whole night. It was hard just trying to, try to go to sleep. I was laying in the bed trying to get rest, but it was hard because my grandparents was at home.
That's right, the Saints' first home game was scheduled for September 18th, but looking at the Superdome, there's talk the game may be moved to Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons gave Buffalo a first-round pick and $12 million for receiver Peerless Price. After 2 years and only 6 touchdowns, the Falcons felt the return wasn't worth it, so today, Price was let go. Day 2 of the U.S. Open. Andre Agassi won last night. He's back on center court Thursday. Let's go behind the doors today and check out the top seed. Roger Federer with the backhand winner right here against Ivo Minar. Match point coming up, and Federer, he wins the match on an unforced error. Easy day at the office, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. Finally, a feel-good story. Little League champions are back home in Hawaii. The youngsters were treated to a red carpet welcome. The young kids even signing autographs for those adoring fans. Congratulations once again to the Little League World Champions.
That was an amazing game.
That was good.
Thanks, Chris. Well, here's Dave Courvoisier with some of the stories we're working on for Eyewitness News Live at 11.
All right, thanks, Paula. The water continues to rise in New Orleans along with the death toll from Katrina's destruction. We'll have your latest live from Louisiana, plus a look at how the massive storm will affect our economy. And a Nevada woman has been missing now for 3 weeks.